Hey, this is Jonathan from Hexplore. How's everybody doing? Thank you for joining me for this playthrough of the Mountains of Godai Return to Caprakan. This is one of two of our expansions in the Mountains of Godai universe, and I'm really excited to show you what the changes are in this particular playstyle. Now, we start the game with several of the hex tiles in play, both of the Empire tiles in play, and the new Aztlant Empire tile, which is right in the middle. Now, we don't use all of the hex tiles in this playthrough. So what that means is as you draw random tiles, you will have a different play experience. Now, I am just noticing here, we actually have only drawn one temple. So we don't have any other temples on the board, and that may affect us later in the game. We'll see. And that's not a bad thing. We can certainly, make do with however we'd like to work on that. Poses some interesting challenges. I've also put all of our card decks in place. So you can see our harvest deck. We have our encounter deck, our power-up deck. Both of the Caprakan commission decks are in play. We've split that deck into half, and one half is at the top and one half is at the bottom. We also have our fifth sun deck here, and this is going to be created just like the Jathe villain deck, where you will have a certain number of siege cards placed in this deck. In this case, we have 3 siege cards that we will be playing through. And then you also notice we have our blood magic deck. Now, blood magic is a new mechanism to the domain of Mirsa Noctis. So blood magic is one of those fun mechanics that allows the players to get a little bit more interesting powers, interesting abilities. Okay, so we have our defenders shown on the bottom of the board here, and if you'll notice, we only have our city-states and our temple in play. Now, that is because in this particular game style, you will not be using the towers or the fortresses. So that is going to be functionality that is reserved for the Return to Ishidan expansion, as well as the core box. Okay. What else? We have our siege cards here, and I have, when I've created those siege decks, what I did is I shuffled the core box siege cards at the bottom of each of these decks, and I shuffled the expansion siege cards at the top of these decks. So as we are drawing siege cards, you guys are going to see only expansion cards until we run out, and then we will start to go through the core box siege opponents. And that's just a way for you to kind of see more of the content that comes in this particular box. All right, so let's talk about our heroes. I have chosen the magician and the astrologist for our playthrough today. I wanted to go with a healer and a sapper. We're going to see how it works out. We're not necessarily going to be doing a lot of health damage, I think, but it'll be a fun way to play the game. Now, I have not only have I chosen those as our roles, but I have chosen both to be kobolds. So we have a kobold group in play, and they are from the tribe of the Ram. This is the Carnero tribe. This is one of the aspects that is in play in this particular game. Okay, so we're a team of little kobolds. We're the tribe of the Ram, and because we're kobolds, we actually begin the game with a element augment of our choice, and I've just selected Earth for both of my kobolds. So they're coming up from, let's say they're on the top of a mountain, and they are finding that something is terribly wrong with the nation of Aztlant, and our little team of kobolds are going to try and save the day. All right, so let's talk a little bit about the changes that we're going to experience playing this version of the game as opposed to the core box, because there are quite a few. It does not play like the core box. And You'll notice that when we do the Ishidon video, the Ishidon gameplay is completely different as well. In the Ishidon game, you will have a focus on the towers and the fortresses and on the sky tiles. You play with all the sky tiles in play at the beginning of the game. In the Return to Caprakan, we play with no sky tiles, and you can actually have void tiles get placed during play. Also, the nation of Aztlant has an eternal twilight side, so we're going to take a look at that as well. Okay, so I think my introduction is kind of wrapping up here, so let's take a look at how this game changes from the core box. Okay, the Return to Caprakan Game mode. This version of play presents a past timeline for your heroes. What happens before Jathe arrives? The Empire of Caprakan struggles to recover balance as demigods grow to power and walk the earth. Their ambition, fueled by the people who revere them, has sundered the world. Their terrible rise in power has tipped the elemental balance. Only the Xumucane shamans can rally the people, which must happen to reverse the descent into madness. As eternal twilight looms overhead and the ancient power called Qualitakutli awakens, the veil between worlds will thin enough, and Jathe will return. So this particular game takes place before Jathe has sundered the world. All right, let's look at the object of the game. So we can win the game in a couple of different ways. One of the first ways to win is by us vanquishing the boss Qualitakutli. This is our 10th level boss for this particular game, and it represents the pinnacle in being able to stop the destruction of this world. We can repair the tapestry, and this is done through gaining elements. Now, this may be difficult because we have to repair the tapestry in temples, and there's only one temple on the board. So we may not be able to necessarily do this as easily, or we can become dedicated to all 5 of the bosses. Now, in this particular game, we are not going to be playing with the Japanese-themed bosses, so that would be the Ishidon bosses. Those are reserved for the Ishidon expansion. We are only focusing on the Caprakan bosses, and if we take a look at the Aztlant card here, we can kind of see that those bosses are these 5 here on the bottom of this temple card. Okay. And that's how we can win the game. We can win the game in those 3 ways. And we lose the game in several ways. If the city-state of Aztlant, that's this one here, is destroyed, and this is either version of the city. Now, I'll get into that in a second as we get into deeper changes in the rules. But there are actually 2 versions of this city. There's one of the physical realm, and then there's one of the Twilight Realm. And when we go into moments of Twilight in this game, that will flip this card over, and it will become Twilight Aztlant and instead of the regular Aztlant. And we'll show that in a minute. Okay, so if Aztlant falls, we're doomed. The other city-states can fall, and we'll be just fine. So that's this city-state number 2 over here, and city-state number 1 over here. Okay, so if those fall, we're okay. That is a change from the core box. If both city-states fall in the core box, we end up dead as a doornail. All right, if the calendar reaches 0 on the last siege stage, then we also will lose the game, okay? Also, if the number of recruits in the stockpile drops to 0, we lose the game. When we begin playing, we actually begin with 40 recruits and 4 specialists. Now, as we sacrifice or lose our recruits, we have the chance of running out, and if we run out of recruits, we lose the game. So we have to be very careful about keeping those recruits in the Empire. Unlike previous explored games, hero death is not a game loss, so we are out of the game for a couple of turns. If we die, we're not out completely. So those are the object of the game. Let's take a look at some of the game differences. Okay, so first of all, I've talked about the map setup. Let's talk about the city-state of Aztlant. Okay, so let me just take this hero guy off of here. And we're going to, as I knock around everything, let's open this up and flip it over. Okay, so we have the bottom side of Aztlant is the eternal twilight side. And there are a couple of times that this is going to change during play. Okay, so that is Aztlant's twin defender. We have the physical realm side, and we have the eternal twilight side. Now, just as in the standard play, yeah, let me get these here. Okay, just like in standard play, we will be creating the void. So the void will come into play at certain times. And that one has a temple on it. So you will see us placing this down on the board from time to time. Whenever the group camps, we can place down a void tile. And we do this to cover certain areas. So for instance, we can actually place a void tile anywhere we would like. And if we place it on top of a city-state, it will protect that city-state from being targeted by the siege opponents. So through strategic planning, we can place down certain void tiles, these nether tiles, to cover. Let's say we want to cover up settlements. Settlements, we can gain recruits in those locations, so we can very easily place those down there. Okay, boy, I'm just messing up our map here. All right, let's put this off to the side. Okay, so let's talk about the recruits and specialists we've mentioned. The primordial centers. Now, there are 4 primordial centers on the map. We have basic elements for each. They kind of look like cataclysm tiles. So we have a water, air, earth, and fire all the way up over here. Okay? Now, just like the eternal twilight here, these tiles can get flipped over to reveal a shaman icon. I've just flipped the water tile over. When we flip these over, if we do not have the shaman associated with that element, we place a shaman token on that location. We can go to that location and gather that shaman. In the Return to Caprakan, shamans represent a tier 3 recruit. Okay, so we have a tier 1 recruit, we have a tier 2 specialist. Tier 3 in Return to Caprakan is the shaman. Okay, so let's put this guy back here, and let's flip this back over here. Okay. All right. A primordial center may be flipped to either side when the group camps in range of any primordial center. So let's say our heroes are here. We're within range of the blue, the water primordial center. If we camp here, we can flip any primordial center over to its opposite side. And just like other elemental icons, whenever you see an elemental icon appear on the map, you place a token there. So I'm going to place a token on each of these locations. We have a water, fire, earth, and these are locations we can get in range of to grab those particular elements. And I don't see any other location on the map that has a elemental icon. Okay, let's take a look. So camping removes 1 critical wound from each hero. Additionally, whenever the group camps and they are in range of a primordial center, we get to flip it. Towers and fortresses aren't used. Jathi's Mini, the siege placard, and imbalance is also not used. All right, let's talk about Qualiticutli. That is this game's villain. And Qualiticutli has a villain phase trigger. So every villain phase, we are going to be either consuming 1 recruit or 2 platinum to appease this demigod. But it has to happen every single turn. Okay, we can face Qualiticutli in the Temple of the Everlasting by initiating mortal combat with it. So Qualiticutli does not have a boss location on the map. We have to wait for Eternal Twilight, then we can go there and face him in combat. Okay, so let's take a look. We're not going to look at repairing the tapestry or dedications just yet. I'll put up on the screen so you can take a look at them, and you can pause the video and kind of read through if you feel like it. But I'm not going to worry about that until we get to that location in the game. Okay. What else? The 5th Sun deck plays just like our core villain deck. And we will find certain boss siege cards that will trigger during the game. So instead of Jathi appearing, certain bosses are going to appear. And that is Tlapachetl, Itzcoatl, Atlacutli, Mikiquapatl, and Tlacahua. Don't quote me on those. I think I got them right, but we love the theme, so... Okay, the siege stage. Now, the short count calendar and Eternal Twilight is going to happen a little bit differently than the core game. You'll see that unfold as we get to it. I'm going to leave it up on the screen for you to take a look at, but we're not going to look at it just yet. Okay, and then finally, magnetic locations during a siege. We can actually place nether tiles. Like I had mentioned, we can place nether tiles kind of cleverly on the map to change how the siege opponents move. Now, what normally happens is in a core game, let's say we have a siege opponent that has shown up right here, okay? Normally, any kind of siege opponent tied to any element can walk right through these nether tiles. In this game, only nether opponents can enter nether tiles. All other opponents have to go around. So we can cleverly use placement of these tiles to affect the pathing of our opponents. Okay? Now, one other thing to note is that unlike the core box, which has 10 portal locations, in the Return to Caprakan, we have 12. And thus, we are using a 12-sided die instead of a 10-sided die when we are rolling for portal placement. You can see we have the 11 to 12 right here on the right side. What else? Did I miss anything? Yes, one other thing. Boss tokens are not placed at the beginning of play. In the Mountains of Godai core box, anytime you start your game, you place a boss token on these locations, and then when you get in range, or if you play with the play style of having them revealed at the beginning of the game, you flip them over, and it will tell you what boss is in that location. In this particular playstyle, we do not start with the boss tokens on the board. Bosses, therefore, are non-locations until they appear in the villain deck. So there are certain triggers that will occur that will trigger the appearance of these bosses. Okay, and you'll see that in play. Let's take a closer look at the setup here. Getting started. So, create your heroes. No changes from the core box. We set up the game board. We've talked about all that. We created the 5th, let's get this kobold card here. We created the fifth sun deck. We place the group and gain initial resources. I filled out the city, state, and temple cards. Each hero begins with their food and gold. And then we roll the 5 element dice. I have not done that yet. So let's go ahead and do that. And also, I should probably talk about the equipment gain at the beginning of the game. Now, in the core box, what you'll do is you are going to select the initial equipment that the group has access to. I'll put it up on the screen. So, our heroes selected to receive 1 ability gear upgrade, 3 Viper potions, 4 gold, and we chose to be hunters. So that means we gain 2 ability ranks of our choice. And that is how we are beginning this game. Now, I am not going to play with Valor in this game. Valor is a optional thing that you can begin your game with, and it just allows you to gain extra gold and gear upgrades at the beginning of the game and some extra abilities. So I'm not going to do that. We're just going to play as if I'm a new player here. Okay. So let's talk about that element dice roll. So we are going to roll all 5 of our element dice, and that is going to give us certain things at the beginning of the game. Okay, so I see 2 air results. I see 1 earth result, 1 water result, and a fire surge. Okay, so let's take a look at that. For each air and fire result, gain 4 ore. So 4, 8, 12, we're going to start the game with 12 ore. For each earth and water result, gain 4 lumber. So we have 4 and 8 lumber. Okay, for each void result, we have no void. And for each surge, also gain 4 platinum. So we'll start the game with 4 platinum. And for each surge result, in addition to any resource reward, the group may reroll the elemental die that surged to gain an element. So we are going to get to reroll our fire die here because it resulted in a fire surge. And depending on what this roll is, we may end up getting an element. We do not. So this is a mismatch. We rolled the fire die, rolled air, so we do not gain an element. So I'm going to put this away here. Okay. So here is our resource placard at the beginning of the game. We start with 4 platinum, 12 lumber, 12 ore, 8 lumber, 40 recruits, and 4 specialists. Pretty good at the start of the game. All right. So I think we are ready. Let's talk quick about range and our movement rate. Okay, so our range is 3 because we have a healer and a sapper. Both actually have a range of 3. So because we have these roles in play, we get to move, or our range is a little bit increased. If we were playing a striker or an assist or a utility, our range would be a little less. Okay. Our group movement rate is actually 5 because of the bonus from the Tribe of the Ram. Now, the Tribe of the Ram has given us some abilities, and one of the abilities is that we can move 1 additional hex while we're moving normally or recklessly, and we don't need soar to access floating mountains with a riser. Now, we're not actually using the floating mountains in this particular gameplay. As discussed previously, we're only using the void side of these sky tiles. We are not actually going to be using the sky tiles themselves, so they're not going to be in play. All right. Let's talk about one more thing, and that is the resource gain. Now, we decided to put into the core box, into the Mountains of Godai core box, we decided to place a new way of gaining resources. In the previous videos that you've seen in the Mountains of Godai, resource gain is based on different terrain and locations that are in play. To help speed up the game and take out some analysis paralysis, we decided to give you the option of having a resource by bundle. So instead of actually having to look at your location every turn, you can simply roll a 6-sided die and gain different resources based on that roll result, or you can simply just select one of those 6 options. And we love both. I love being able to see where I'm at on the board and drive that decision. In this particular game, we're going to default to that resources by bundle. And so we are simply going to roll the 6-sided die and gain resources based on what we roll. Okay. Okay, so I think with that, we're about ready to begin. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is draw our harvest cards. Now, because we are not playing with the resources by location or terrain, we're using the resources by bundle card. We have a fixed acquire amount of 4. That means we are going to draw 4 harvest cards at the beginning of every harvest stage. So let's draw 4 cards. Okay. We have Rainforest's Gift. Now this is a card from this expansion. Great power is hidden in the roots of our trees. Immediate effect. Each hero gains 8 food. For each food the group cannot carry, gain 1 lumber instead. Awesome. Until the end of stage effect, anytime you gain Nature's Essence or Sky Metal, gain 1 more. Very, very good. Okay. So let's take a look at that. So 8 food each. Our carry capacity is 10. We can only gain 5 here and 5 here. That means we're going to gain 6 lumber. That is awesome. We go up to 14 lumber just from that effect. Okay, then we have donation. The people are here to support our endeavor. Immediate effect to gain 5 lumber, 5 ore, and a gear upgrade. And that gear upgrade icon means we gain a gear upgrade for each hero. So let's go with health over here. Definitely need more health. And let's go with attack over here. Very good. So that was a donation. 5 lumber, up to 19 lumber, and 17 ore. And let's look at that until end of stage effect. Anytime the group gains any number of recruits, also gain a lumber and an ore. That is awesome. Okay, then we have teaching technique. We get a familiar. Now, I did include cards from the Ishidon expansion. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to not play this card. I'm going to draw another one. But I wanted you to see it at least to see, that we have different effects in the game. So you can very easily bring other effects from the Ishidon expansion into this game. If you wanted to also have your heroes gain a familiar, this is how that would work. I think I'm going to save it though. Sorry, I know there will be some of you out there who really want to see that, but we'll save that for the Ishidon video. Let me place this over here. Okay, and it's replaced with diligent workers. Looks like this might be from the living card deck. We will do what others cannot. Each hero may roll a skill test of their choice Those who succeed gain 1 rank in that skill. Those who critically succeed gain 3 ranks. Ooh, and look at that end of stage effect. Double all commission rewards. So this will be a very good card to have in place to deal with those commissions on the board, which I haven't flipped over yet. I'll do that in a second. Okay, so let's roll skills. Let's see. The astrologist and the magician will both roll explore. That way we're going to see if we can't get more gold. Okay, so let me just move these over. Rank 5, rank 4, roll of 4, we make it. Rank 4, roll of a 3, we both end up gaining a +1 to that skill. Yes. Very good. Okay. And last but not least, let's replace that familiar card draw. Lost Penancho. Okay, so this is from the core box. Secure by traveling to any antiquity site. So we have 1 antiquity site here, and we have 1 antiquity site here. We have a couple more on the board. So we could go to that location and gain the Lost Penancho. Okay. Ooh, and look at that. Anytime the group gains a specialist, you gain 1 more. Anytime the group places a hex token on a siege portal, place 2 tokens instead of 1. So that is awesome. That means that we can start closing some of the portals by defeating bosses if we so choose to do that. Okay, so let me move these off to the side. Okay, where I can see them. And finally, let's flip over the Caprakan commission cards. I see the Jade Jaguar that occurs in an antiquity site, and Feathered Kukumaz, also in an antiquity site. Okay, so that is going to be the beginning of our game. And that's going to set us up, I think, for some good playthrough. So let's go ahead and get started. We're going to start with the movement phase, and we are just going to move 4, 2, 3, 4. We're moving normally. Means we could get lost, depending on what we roll here. 9, we are gonna get lost, and 8. 9 and 8 for our green. 6 is a success for our astrologist. Our astrologist is gonna get 2 gold. We have 6 for survival, so she is going to lose a little bit of food. Same thing over here, except we don't get any gold over here, so we've lost some food. Okay. All right, that means we're gonna wander. We're gonna roll a d6 and check our wander graphic right here, and that's going to determine where we wander into. And we roll a 2, and that is going to be back a little ways. So we're going to stop right there, and that is going to be the end of our turn. Okay, so then we are going to draw a card, draw one of the 5th Sun cards, and we're going to play that. Chaos at home. Our settlements are being overrun until the end of the harvest stage. If the group moves into range of or harvests resources from a settlement, face a tenacious encounter. Then place a hex token on that location. Aha. Okay, so one thing, I did not actually give us our resources. I was too excited. So let's go ahead and do that first. This happens during the event phase. We're going to roll a 6-sided die and gain the resources based on that roll. And that's a 3. That is for the Empire. We get to roll 2 elemental die of our choice, and we get 6 platinum. All right. So we've been able to harvest from the city-state there to get that platinum. Let's go ahead and roll 2 dice of our choice. Let's go with earth and water because we're in the jungle and we're right next to water. Okay, they're both mismatches, so we are not going to gain an element from that roll. Okay, now we have our chaos at home. We are in range of that settlement, so we are going to face a tenacious encounter, and then we have to place a token on that, a hex token on that. So let's draw an encounter. We have the javelin snake. All right. So this particular snake is a creature, and it is air. We are both earth based. So that means we are both going to be weak against this particular creature. All right, let's see what happens. It's tenacious, so we can't actually run from this. We'll see. We'll see what happens here. Okay, looking at our items here, the astrologist and the magician have a bone pendant. Now this is an item that is gained in the Empire of Caprakan, and this particular item allows you to trigger before combat begins for 2 energy drain. So that means each of us are going to drop down from 2 energy. We are going to gain the ability to either go berserk or gain favored opponent against one opponent until the end of combat. So we are going to gain favored opponent against the javelin snake, and that is going to allow us to roll a little bit of extra damage against this particular enemy. Okay, so let's place this here. And we're going to, first of all, roll our 2 favorite opponent dice. So we have a 1 and a 4. That is going to be 5 total damage coming into the javelin snake. It starts with 15 health, so it is down to 10 health. And what are we doing? I think the magician and the astrologist are both going to attack just using their basic attack for a 2 and a 4. And let's see, this creature has evasion of 8. So against each attack, we are going to actually be rolling to see if it evades. Okay. So if we roll an 8, a 9, or a 10, the javelin snake is going to evade the attack. That's a 4. The 2 damage from the astrologist is going through, and that is a hex, so the 4 damage is going through, and that is going to be good for us. Let's see what the javelin snake does to us. So this is a hex. Okay, so single 6 piercing health damage and explore. Those who fail gain bleeding twice. Oh my gosh. Okay, well this is bad because it is doing air damage, and we have weakness against air because of our earth augment. Both of our heroes have an earth augment, and so we are actually going to be taking some extra damage from this. Okay, so first of all, we need to roll who our target is. We have a 2 on the astrologist, and we have a 2 on the magician, which means we are going to have to re-roll. We have that's a hex on the astrologist, and a 4 on the magician. The 4 is going to be taking that damage. So that is 6 piercing health. Oh my gosh. This is going to kill our magician, you guys, because he has only 7 total health. And we're suffering a d6 of damage, and that's 2. So that's 8 total piercing damage to the magician. Magician only has 7 health. I didn't defend. I didn't use any items for healing. So that's on me. I could have probably done that, but that's okay. We'll show off the death mechanic here too. Okay, so my magician, first round of the game is dead. Oh my gosh, my astrologist is just not happy with this, how this is going. All right, let's see what happens. So we did 7, let's see, 11, 6, and 5 is 11 damage. It has 4 health remaining. Our astrologist is going to... Okay, our astrologist is going to use the defend action and an item. So we're going to roll our d6 for favored opponent damage and hope that it's a 4 or higher, and it is a 5. So we have done enough favored opponent damage, which cannot be evaded, to destroy this particular javelin snake. But our magician, Nika, has died, and our astrologist, Kian, doesn't know what to do. So let's take a look. So we first have to have the javelin snake do what it's going to do, and it rolls a 3. Dual 6 energy drain and survival. Those who fail are poisoned. Those who critically fail are also slowed. Okay, so we know the astrologist is taking one of these attacks. Because it's not unyielding, it is only taking one, even though it's a dual action. It can't be hit twice. Alright, so energy drain. 6 energy drain. Akashic Link is going to trigger to reduce that by 3. She's defending and also going to be healing using the Viper Potion for 10 energy. So that is good too. And then she needs to roll to see if she is poisoned, which is an affliction that can be sustained. So she is going to roll survival, and she rolls a 3. But because she has an earth augment, she gets a +2 penalty to this roll. So I don't think it's gonna work. Yeah, totally not even with a roll of a 10, of course. So she is poisoned. Those who critically fail, because I rolled a 10, critically failed. We are also slowed. So we're poisoned and slowed. This has been probably one of the hardest opening rounds I've had in a while. Okay, so Javelin Snake is destroyed. We each get the bonus. We are not able to carry all of that food from the Javelin Snake, so this is going to get put away. I will say that was a level 4 opponent on the first round of the game, so that was a little bit harsh for us. Now, our magician has died. Because this is the first harvest, he's going to be out of combat for 1 round, or of the game for 1 round. Okay, so that means I'm going to have to be a little bit more careful to make sure our astrologist survives the next game turn. Alone, out in the wilderness, on the scary jungle. Okay, so let's move this out of the way. Then we are going to place a hex token on this particular settlement. Okay. Then we roll the void die to place a opponent because it is a void card. And that is a void surge. Oh no. Okay, so we are placing 2 void opponents on the first siege slot. 1 gets placed, and on the second siege slot 1 gets placed. Now normally you would only place 1 card, but because we surged, you're placing 1 card on the first slot and 1 card on the adjacent slot. Okay. All right, let me put this off to the side here. Wow. Okay, so that was the first game turn. At the end of the turn, we are going to sacrifice a recruit or some platinum. One of our recruits is going away. So we have 39 recruits left and 10 platinum here. Okay. Okay, so that is the end of our turn. Next turn, we are going to move 1. We're moving cautiously because we don't want to get into any more trouble out here in the wilderness. Poisoned. Let's look at that poisoned effect real quickly here. Okay, lose 1 health at the beginning of the declaration phase of each round of combat, and at the beginning of each movement phase. They must roll and succeed on a survival roll in order to use energy. If you succeed on any 3, remove the condition from yourself. Okay, so we are losing, the astrologist is losing 1 health because of the poisoned condition, and we are going to roll the skill dice for this particular hero. We do not have the magician in the group. All right, well, at least we succeeded on the first survival roll, and we get no gold, and we do not we don't have to worry about our navigate failure because we're only moving 1. So even though we failed navigate, we are still on target, and we know where we're going. All right. Okay, so we are on this particular location now. The beginning of our event phase, we are going to have our resources by bundle here. So let's go ahead and roll. And that is a 3 again for the Empire. Now I don't have to roll, I can just select. So I think next time I'm just going to select something because I don't want to really select the basic elements and the platinum. But hey, look at that. Maybe I spoke too soon. We have 1 fire and we get 2 air elements out of that. So that was actually a pretty darn good roll. And we also get 6 more platinum. We're up to 16 platinum. 2 of the air, which you can see the elements up here. 1 of the fire, 16 platinum. Okay. Okay, so that is our resource, the resource part of the event phase. Now we are currently on a location. So we have 2 of these that we can try here. Navigate and explore. Yeah, let's do this Jade Jaguar. Within the crumbling debris of an ancient temple, a shrine has been found. Upon digging, you unearth the statue of a mythic jade jaguar. It is poised to strike with its maw open and claws extended. When you touch it with your scraped hand, your blood awakens the idol. Okay, this is a navigate and explore. Check it out. Our astrologist has a rank 6 for both navigate and explore. And because the astrologist is the only living hero, we need to get our success on both in order for us to win this particular commission and figure this out. So this is like, our kobold is like Indiana Jones in this particular instance. All right, let's see what we do with this Jade Jaguar Temple. We need a, whoops, that's the wrong die. We need a 6 or less on both of these. Hey, check that out. That is a hex and a 2. Here's what happens. Whenever you gain a hex on a commission, you are gaining double the reward. Our Diligent Workers card, which is the harvests card that we currently have access to, it is also doubling our commission rewards. So, first of all, the commission reward for this particular card is 1 specialist, 1 sky metal, and 1 essence. That doubles to 2, and then it doubles again to 4. And not only that, but we have Rainforest Gift also in action here. Anytime you gain Nature's Essence or Sky Metal, gain 1 more, okay? So we gain 4 of each, plus 1 more of the Sky Metal and Essence. Where'd my pen go? Here it is. That's amazing. Okay, so we gain 5 Essence, 5 Sky Metal, And 4 specialists. Oh my gosh. Oh, you guys, this has actually made it all worthwhile. The amount of resources we just got from this combination is staggering. So, because we have diligent workers, double all commission rewards. Because we have the rainforest gift, we gain 1 extra, and that is awesome. Okay, so we are going to also, not only that, we are currently in a antiquity site, and that is also going to mean that we gain access to this lost Pinancho. So we are also going to gain this treasure. Awesome. Okay, I'm going to give that treasure to our magician once he wakes up here. And let's put this card away and flip over the next one. Tending Triceratops. That sounds like a fun one. I like that card. Okay, so at the end of our game turn, we are going to draw the 5th Sun card here. And we have a Cataclysm. Catastrophic rainfall threatens the lowlands as a surging wall of water ushers forth. Roll to place the Deluge Cataclysm tile. If it is not already in play, then place the matching elemental token on the elemental rift. If the water primordial center is currently flipped to its nether side, flipped to its element side, Aztlant suffers -1 range. Okay, so potential. Aztlant is suffering 1 potential because of this card, because the water primordial center is currently face that side up. Okay. Here is the Cataclysm tile, and now we have to roll for placement. We're rolling the 12 and the d6. So we have a result of an 8 and a 2. That's all the way over here, and a 2 is this way. So the water Cataclysm is placed right there. And then we're also going to place a water token on the center of that particular location. Okay, now we're going to roll the water die, and we're going to see what that produces for a siege opponent. And that is an air siege opponent. So we're going to place that right on top of here. I will take that over the void any day of the week. That's good. And we'll place that over here. And there we have it. Now we're done with our second turn. Now, let's take a look at how dead heroes come back to life. Okay, Wave Revival. As long as it's not the last siege of the game, heroes who die may be automatically revived in a city state of their choice after a number of game turns have passed equal to the current wave number. Heroes brought back in this wave revive during the movement phase of that turn, so right now, and may rejoin any alive heroes when they are in range of an event location. You know what I forgot to do? I have to put a hex token on this particular antiquity site. Let's do that. We are in range of that boss location. But technically, it's not a boss location in Caprakan until there's actually a boss to inhabit it. We are in range of this city-state, so if we camp here, we'll gain access to our magician. I think that's what we'll do. Let's see. We are going to camp here, so we're going to gain back our vitals. The magician comes back to life and is wondering what the heck happened with those snakes. He gains the lost Pinancho, so he's going to gain +1 attack and +1 defend. And anytime the group gains a specialist, we gain 1 more. He wasn't wearing it when we had our commission, so we'll say he doesn't gain that right now. Before the wielder rolls any die, they may suffer 1 energy drain to instead roll twice and take either result. Nice. Okay, so we are not moving. Let's roll our skills here. And we have success on survival, we have success on navigate, we have success all around for the astrologist. That means we have 2 out of our 3 to get rid of our poisoned condition. Gains a little bit of gold. Here we have failure on navigate, we have a success on explorer, and a failure for eating food. So Mika is going to eat some food. Okay. All right. And we're going to gain some resources. So let's go with the tier 5 bundle. That is the result of a 5, and that's a plus 1 sky metal and 1 essence. Because of the rainforest gift, we're getting 1 more each of those, so we get 2 essence and 2 sky metal. Okay. All right. Then we are going to draw a 5th sun card, and we have the Temple of the Crocodile. Roll to place this discovery token using the siege portals. Place it unsecured side up on any marsh hex nearest to the result. Okay, let's grab the token for it. That is going to be the token of the crocodile. There are 2 sides to this token. There's the green side, and then there is the dashed orange side. The dashed orange side is when we secure that location. So this location is not yet secured. So let's roll to place this location. We're going to roll a d12 and a d6 using the siege portals. We get a 5 and a 2. 5 all the way over here, and a 2 is going to be in this way direction. So that's going to be right here. So if we can get into range of that location before the next siege begins, we will actually gain access to the Temple of the Crocodile. Okay. Additionally, we have a couple of things that happen here. We have a encounter icon, which means we're going to play an encounter, and we're going to roll to place a siege opponent, a water siege opponent. So let's roll the siege opponent first, and that's a water surge. So we are going to place 2 water siege opponents, 1 on each of the first and second slots. Okay, I think this next siege is going to be a tough one. All right. Then we are going to play an encounter. And we have a fire elemental. Now this is actually an equipable card. If we're able to influence the fire elemental, we will actually be able to use and equip this fire elemental on one of our defenders. Our astrologist can actually affect the fire elemental, so I think that's what we're going to do. Let's take a look at our items here for a moment. Okay, so we're both going to gain access to the favorite opponent, again, using our bone pendants. That is going to mean that we suffer 2 energy drain at the beginning of combat. All right, and then we're both going to roll a d6 and apply it to the fire elemental's influence value, which is 10. We have 4 and 3, which is 7. And then the astrologist can actually deal 2 damage using Starfall, and Starfall actually can also affect influence. So we will be doing a total of 9 influence on the first round of combat. The magician is going to defend, and we'll see what the fire elemental does here. 3. Okay, group 1, piercing, corrosive health, and each target is burned. Okay, so we are going to have Kian drop down to 6 health. This is piercing, so even though Nika defended, they are also taking the damage. And each target is burned. Okay, so let's take a look at that. Burned. Lose 3 health at the beginning of the declaration phase of each round and heal 3 less each time their health is healed. Oy. Okay, so next round we are going to defend. Both of us are defending, and we're going to use that bone pendant ability to give a little bit more damage to our influence. We have a 3, which is enough, and a 2, which is enough to influence this fire elemental. Now it still gets its action before we get to do what we're doing. So it rolls a 5, group 3 energy. This opponent is berserk next round, and its targets are burned. We're still burned. We are defending, so we just take the burned damage. So that's 3 damage each. And Kian and Nika are now down to 3 health remaining. And that is the end of our combat. Oy, oy, oy. Okay. So we have successfully influenced our fire elemental. We get 5 gold each, and we get 3 lumber. And because we have this donation card in play, this harvest card, anytime the group gains any number of lumber, you gain 1 more. So we gain 6 lumber. And 5 gold each. Okay, and there we have it. Then we've placed our card, and it is the next turn. Boy, I need to get rid of this poisoned condition, because Kian is now down to 2 health remaining. I think she'll use the snail tonic to heal 3 health. Yeah, so she's going to heal 3 health using her snail tonic. Goes up to 5. No more snail tonics here. I bet you they taste delicious. Alright, then we're going to move. So by doing that, we're able to actually move recklessly. Do I want to do that? I don't think I want to move recklessly right now. No, we're just going to move 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. We're not moving recklessly. Oh, actually, we can move 5 because we are a clan of the Ram, so we actually can move 5. So we'll move here. And let's see what our rolls are here. All right, I see a failure on green. And a failure on green. We're going to wander. And a failure on blue over here, which means we're going to eat. At least she gets a little bit of gold. We failed everything over here. So we're eating, and we're failing. Okay. So she's still poisoned. Okay, so now we're going to wander. We're going to roll a d6, and that is a 5. We wander this way, closer toward the temple. Oh, that puts us in range of the settlement, you guys. So, okay, so we're now in range of that settlement, and that means that this card triggers again. Chaos at home. Until the end of this harvest stage, if the group moves into range of a settlement, face a tenacious encounter. Oh, no. All right, so we have to face another encounter. We can't run from it. What's it going to be? A graveler. Okay, well, at least it's a magical nature of Earth. Okay. We're immune to Earth, so we're not going to take much damage. All right, we can take a Graveler. We're both pretty good against that. All right. So, what we're going to do is use that bone pendant again. Very, very handy item. And we're going to both defend. And we're going to roll our favorite opponent dice here. So 2 and 2. That's 4 damage out of 10 going to the Graveler. Both defending. Graveler is going to roll a 5. Dual 4 Earth health. Okay. Now, it is dealing Earth damage. We are immune to Earth damage. We're not immune to that encased effect. Okay, so that encased effect is going to trigger, and that is, we're no longer targetable by opponents, but the constraint that encases them can be targeted by us. We may only use their attack each round, targeting only the constraint. This condition includes a number in parentheses. This number of health that must be dealt to free the target. Okay, so we're both encased in rock, and we are dealing 2 damage to it and 5 damage to it. It can't really attack us, so we're still going to gain our favorite opponent damage because that's something that occurs every turn, regardless of whether we have this condition. We have a 3 and a hex. That you can't see that. A hex is rolled here. We're going to be dealing enough damage to destroy this Graveler. Okay, so it takes us some time. These 2 kobolds are in the middle of the jungle, completely encased in rock, and we, let's see, we gain 2 lumber plus the 1 lumber from the donation card. So that's a total of 3. We have 28 lumber, you guys. That is going to be really good for us to use to enhance our city-state before the siege occurs. Maybe, if we can get there, if we can get back there. Okay, we also get 3 gold. Getting a good, healthy amount of gold, which is going to help us with gear upgrade purchases once we get closer. All right, then we're going to discard this card. Place a hex token on the settlement. All right, what do we want to gain here? I think we should gain some gold. Oh, man, that'd be a waste of food. Now let's gain the tier 2 bundle again, at number 5 bonus, and that will give us 2 more sky metal and 2 more essence, for a total of 9 of each of those. Okay, so that could have been worse. I'm thankful that we fought an Earth opponent, and we were immune to his damage. That was very good for us. Let's see what this 5th sun card is here. And that's our siege. Okay, so here it is. Our Temple of the Crocodile is going to go away. We have not secured this particular discovery, so this was swallowed back up. Our Chaos at Home is no longer in play either. Let's see, what else? We have all 3 of the harvest cards are going to go away as well. And then we're going to roll the fire die. And that is an air opponent. So to place the air opponent on the first slot here. And let's take a look at how this card plays out. The harvest stage ends. Increase the siege wave by 1. Roll the wellspring die. That's the D12. And that is an 8. Increase the calendar by 3 plus 1/3 the roll result. So we have a 3 plus 3. So that is a 6. Let's grab our calendar here. We're going to fill in 6 bubbles. Okay. Locate and place Mequipapapalato's boss token on a boss layer of your choice. That is boss number 2. Let's see if I can find that boss token. There it is. Okay, so we're going to place her boss token on a boss layer of our choice. Let's put it right here. Actually, I think it makes more sense in the mountains. Right there. Because she's also an opponent that is fire-based, so she appears right by the fire primordial center. Okay. Flip the fire primordial center to its fire side. Okay, we have it there. Until this stage ends, to flip the fire primordial center to its nether side, the group must also consume 2 water. So we cannot flip that over to gain the shaman without actually also sacrificing some water. Also, Mequipapalado is dangerous until the end of this siege. Okay, things are heating up. All right, so our siege has just begun. There are a few more steps that we're going to take to close out this transition between the harvest stage and the siege stage. The first thing that I'll note is that in the previous few game turns, I have not been reducing our recruit numbers based on Qualitikutli's influence. So I'm going to decrease that by 3. The next thing that we're going to talk about is our resources. We have tier 2 bonuses that occur whenever we transition from the harvest stage into the siege stage, and that is through our essence, our sky metal, and our specialists. So we have 9 of each of our essence and sky metal and 8 specialists. So let's take a look at that. Okay, so our essence, 1 defender gains +4 resilience at the beginning of each siege for every 4 essence in the stockpile. Because we have 9, this is going to trigger twice, so we get 8 additional resilience, and we're just going to put that right to Aztlant. Now, because the physical side of Aztlant is currently in play, we can only affect that particular version of the city. Once Eternal Twilight occurs and this tile flips over, and that will occur toward the end of our siege stage, then we can affect that particular version of the city-state through that at that time. Okay, but we can't do it just yet. All right, so 8 resilience. That's good. I'm going to increase us to 38. And then for the sky metal, we have 1 defender gains +2 power at the beginning of each siege for every 4 sky metal in the stockpile. That'll also trigger twice. So we get +4 strength. And let's go with Aztlant again. Oops, that started at 1, so that should be 5. That's really good. Okay, and then finally we have 8 specialists. That's going to trigger twice for every 4 in the stockpile. We get 6 platinum, so we are getting another 12 platinum for a total of 28 platinum. Awesome. Okay, so now that we've done our tier 2 bonuses, we are going to roll to place our 2 siege opponents. We have 2 slots that are currently in play, and we have a air siege opponent and a water siege opponent that will be showing up on screen here. So let's roll to place those 2 locations. And we have number 12 and 5. So 5 is going to be wandering this way from the 12th portal, and that is going to be all the way over here. Now we can't place this on a portal, so we're going to re-roll this die, and we get a hex, which is straight up. All right, so that is where this particular siege opponent is, and what is it? It is the Quitla Capital. Quet. All right, let's see if I can pronounce this one. Quetzalcoatl. So these are this is a spider swarm that is floating in on the wind. Okay. Then we have the second one, and we have number 5, and a hex is going to be straight up. That one's going to be right in our neighborhood, right here. And we're going to take this Temple of the Crocodile and put that one away. Okay, so that is going to be it. Let's see what this one is. This is a Sarcosuchus, and this is a gigantic crocodile that has kind of come. How ironic is that, you guys? The Temple of the Crocodile was right here, and now all of a sudden we've got this this Temple of the Crocodile, gigantic, titanic crocodile that has emerged. How fitting is that? That's crazy that these little synergies occur during the game. Kind of a fun thing to witness, if I do say so myself. All right, so let's go ahead. This is going to trigger the first stage of the siege directly in this particular villain phase. So the first thing that happens is our siege banners are going to move. Okay, so we have a movement rate of 2 and 2. They're going to be moving 2 hexes. I see Swift on the spider swarm. So let's take a look at Swift. That simply means that they're moving 2 additional hexes, and they only treat city-states as magnetic. So this one is going to be in danger. Okay, so this particular spider swarm is moving swiftly on the wind. 1, 2. It is going through a settlement, which means it's also destroying the villagers there. And so our settlement has been destroyed. And it now moves right to that location. Now its range is 2, which means it is in range of this particular city-state of Nemoteptec. Okay, so they are going to be dealing. Oh, and let's read this. Let's read the passive here first. Each revealed city-state loses 1 potential when they enter play. So we're going to reduce the potential of each of our city-states because this particular spider swarm is in play. Oh my gosh. And if you guys will remember, we actually had another effect reduce Aztlant's potential by 1. So we are down to 3 potential on Aztlant. Not looking good. Okay. They are going to deal 1 damage to Nemoteptec. Okay. Got to 19. And then we have our Sarcosuchus. And this guy has a range of 1. He has bulwark of, 3, and freeze. Okay. So he is going to be moving, let's see, he's going to be moving toward this guy here. Actually, yes, because the temple is not magnetic. So the temple does not have this little magnet icon, if you can kind of see that here. Each of our city-states are magnetic. The temple is not. So it is simply going to move 2 closer to our city-state. Okay. Now we have the defending stage. So our defenders are going to get a chance to crack back at these particular foes. We do have Nemoteptec in range of the spider swarm. So they have 2 potential and 2 power. Okay, so we're going to roll 2 10-sided dice, and for each result that is 2 or less, it's not looking good for us, we'll do some damage to these spiders. And we have 1 that is a 2 and 1 roll that is a 4, so we do 1 damage to these spiders. They have 5 resilience, so I'm going to place that on our siege opponent. So I'm going to place that on our battle mat. You can see here we have 5 representing the spiders and 5 resilience representing the giant crocodile. Okay, so spiders go down to a 4. All right, and that's it. That's the end of the siege. We get to go into our next phase. So I think what we're going to do is we need to get into the city. Let's get protected by the city-state here. 1, 2, 3. We're going to, look at me just making a mess of the map. All right, I'm going to move into the city-state of Manchupakra. We've moved 3, so let's roll our skills here. Oh my gosh, 2 hexes. Amazing. Okay, this is a good thing for us. But let's go through and look at what else we have here. So we fail navigate. We fail over here for eating. So we have to eat some food. We fail searching for gold. We're just in a hurry. And let's see. Nika actually does really good and makes all 3 rolls. He has his head on straight there. All right, so two hexes during the skill phase. This is the first time we've rolled a crit success during the skill phase of this game. So a few things happen. Let's take a look at that card. So if you critically succeed navigate, we don't wander. So even though our first hero failed, our second hero allows us not to wander. We get a tier 1 resource of our choice for each hex rolled. So we get 2 tier 1 resources. Let's go with ore. And then if we take a look at the multiple critical successes at the bottom, in addition to the normal bonuses, if we get 2 critical successes, we also gain a tier 2 resource of our choice. So let's go with Sky Metal. Okay. And our harvest card is no longer in play, so we don't get to tap into more bonuses because it is now the siege. Okay, so the other thing that happens is we can go monster hunting whenever we have a hex during the skill phase. Basically what this means is you get to draw a number of encounter cards equal to the hexes, number of hexes that are played, and you can choose to face any of the encounters that are drawn. You're going to get more platinum if you win that battle, and you'll also get whatever the rewards are for obviously defeating those encounters. So we will draw 2 encounters now. We get to choose if we're going to face either of them. Things are ratcheting up in the world around us, and just by moving through and into the city, we have found a pocket of, let's see what's happening. So we have a Kappa and an Earth Elemental. Ooh, Earth Elemental, guys. If you'll remember, we're actually really good against Earth. We won't take damage. It is a spirit. It can be, it can be influenced, and if we influence this particular guy, we can actually apply him to one of our city-states, one of our defenders. Okay. So, but do we want to? I think for now, because I want to keep this kind of a quick and easy transition into the siege, we're going to put him away. But this would be an amazing way for us to actually gain another equip effect, and all we would have to be doing is about 16 damage to his influence. And when you're influencing an opponent, you're using a heal mechanic. So healers are particularly good at influencing. I will skip this for now. Okay. All right. Okay, so that is going to be the movement and the skill phase. Now we have our event phase. Because we are in a city state, we're going to be able to heal everything. Okay. And we are going to be able to spend some of our gold. So I'm going to do that and get right back to you in a second. Okay, and I'm back. I have purchased a number of gear upgrades for our heroes here. We've purchased a couple of ability upgrades, but I focused mainly on skill upgrades because I really want to get a couple more of those commissions taken care of. So that is what we focused on. The next thing to note is that we ended movement in a location that is within range of an element. Now we have a range of 3. Had I moved here, which I didn't, we would be in range of the water and the air. But because I moved here and I stopped movement there, we're only in range of the air. So I'm going to pick this up, and we also gain a air element. Okay. We now have 3 of those. All right. Then we are also in range of this particular temple. 1, 2, 3. So that means that not only can we use our resources to increase or to enhance the city-state of Manchupakra, but we can also enhance the temple that is in that location. Now the temple's range is only 1, so it can't actually affect this crocodile boss here, but we are going to use some of our resources to apply bonuses to our defenders. Now, if you'll remember, we have a ton of resources at our disposal. Because this is the siege stage, we can only use 36 resources this turn. Or each turn, we can only use the number of resources that we have as number of recruits in the stockpile. Okay, so let's use, we're going to use 4 essence to increase the range of the temple by 2. That's going to give it a range of 3. Okay. And then we're going to increase its, let's go with its potential by 7. And that will cost us, let's see, that's 14 lumber. So we go down to 14 lumber. And that's up by 7. So now we have a potential of 8. Okay. And then I'm going to use 6 sky metal to increase its power by 3. And it now has a power of 4. So that's looking a little bit better. We've used 14 plus 2 is 16 plus 6 is, we have plenty more that we can use here. So I'm going to use another 9 or to increase its resilience by 8. So now its resilience is up to 16. Very good. And let's also put a few of our specialists in there. So I'm going to put 4 specialists in this particular temple, and that is going to reduce the keywords that are associated with this particular, with any siege opponent that's in range. So that's going to reduce his bulwark down from a 3 to a 0, which is kind of, a bulwark is armor. So it is otherwise going to suffer less damage if we don't put those specialists in there. So that's also going to help us. Okay. And then what else? Do we want to... I think we're going to also increase Manchupakra's potential. So that is going to, we're going to spend 5 lumber, go down to 9, and 1 platinum. Oh, we also need to spend the platinum for that guy there, so we're down to that. we had to use a platinum for both the temple and the city-state when we're increasing or enhancing their powers there. Okay, so +5 to potential. We're now up to 7 potential on Manchu Pakra. All right, I think we are good to go. Okay, one last thing that I didn't mention, our short count calendar. When we began the siege, we filled in 5 bubbles. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Did I do that right? Is it 5 or 6? I think it was 6. I believe it was 6. So I'm actually going to put in 6 bubbles there. Oh, it's because I know why. At the end of the siege, you actually remove 1 bubble. So the last turn at the end of the siege, we did erase, that 1 bubble there. So we currently have 5 bubbles left. If you notice the icon with the void icon there, in this version of play, when you erase the bubble that's next to it, and so that means there's 4 bubbles filled in. The moment there's only 4 bubbles filled in, you're going to flip this over to the Eternal Twilight side. So as at the end of this particular siege stage, when we get there, this is going to flip over and the Eternal Twilight version of Aztlant will be visible. Okay, so an eclipse is happening in the sacred heavens. Okay. All right, so we did our resources, we did our event phase, we spent some of our gold. Now let's jump into the siege. That's going to be the first one here. Our spider swarm is in range of Nemoteptek, and it's going to be dealing 1 damage to the city-state. Okay. And then we have this guy here is going to move 2. 1, 2. Now his range is only 1, so he's still not in range of either of our defenders there. But it's nice, both of our defenders are in range of him, so we get to deal some damage now as well. So let's take a look. So let's go with this one first. I'm going to move this back over here. And I'm just going to move this right here. Okay, so we have a range of 2, and we have 2 potential and 2 power. So both of those are a bust, a 9 and a 10. It's not going to deal damage to the spider swarm. Okay. Manchu Pakra is currently in range, but I'm going to save that for last. We're going to do the temple first. So our temple is currently, let me move this over here. Temple has a potential of 8, okay? And it has a power of 4. So I only have 6 10-sided dice here. Shame on me for not grabbing more, but I'll just re-roll 2 of them. Okay, so we need 4 or less. 1, 2. Oh, only 2 successes here. But that 1 is going to be dealing 2 damage. Let's do 2 more dice. And that's a little bit better. So we have 3 total successes and 1 is a crit. So we have 1 damage, 2 damage, 3, 4 damage to the crocodile here. So he has 5 resilience going down to 1. And because we have those 4 specialists in this temple, it's taking away that bulwark result, that bulwark keyword on this particular guy. Okay. All right. So that is our temple. Now, we are currently in the city-state of Manchu Pakra. So that means we can actually use our heroes to roll some skills in an attempt to help destroy this particular creature. And this is called bolstering. Okay, so we are currently in this defender, and we can attempt to bolster it. So we are going to spend 1 energy and roll a skill test of our choice. We can either increase the range using navigate. We can deal 1 siege damage using our explore. I think we're going to do that. Or we can use our survival and reduce damage that this particular creature does to the city-state. Because it's not in range of the city-state, it's not dealing damage. So we're going to roll our explore and try and deal 1 or more damage to this guy. So we need a 7 for Kian, our astrologist, and we need a 6 for the magician. 6 for Kian is a success, and a 2 is also a success. So we are going to be dealing 2 damage to this particular opponent. Because we have those 4 specialists in range, we are automatically getting rid of that bulwark effect, which means it's not going to be able to reduce that damage, and it's going to die. So we don't even have to roll our dice for this particular guy. Let's do it anyway, just to see what we would have gotten. Let's see how much deader, how much more dead it would be. All right, so we need a 3 or less. So 1, 2, and 1 more die. Nope. So we would have done 4 damage, and it only has 1 left. So we managed to destroy the giant crocodile, and check it out. We are going to gain a power up for having done this. Okay, so let's move this guy over here. And then we get to re-roll the placement for the next siege that is in process. We have a 10 all the way over there. Can't be off the map, so we're going to re-roll the water direction. And that can't be on the portal. That's a 3. Okay. This guy reappears right over here. Oh. The city-state of Nemo Teptek is in trouble because a mimicant has shown up. Now this also has bulwark. Oh, and it's consuming some high-level resources. It has a consume of a ethereal or a living crystal every turn. Teleport effects are negated for the group while mimicant is in play, so we can't actually teleport while this particular siege opponent is in play. Okay, so let's draw that power-up card. And we have a +2 energy and revival, and a +2 health and revival. Huh. I did shuffle that deck, but interesting. Okay, so let's go with the health and revival over here for Kian. And let's go with the energy over here. So each of our heroes can revive if we need that effect. That is pretty good. Okay, so that is going to be the end of this siege stage. The next thing that's going to happen is we are going to erase that bubble on our short count calendar, which means there are 4 bubbles remaining, and that is when our Eternal Twilight is going to show up. I'm also going to reduce our platinum by 2 because that qualitatively effect is in play, so we get to choose to either lose 1 recruit every turn or 2 platinum. So let's flip this card over. Okay, and now it is the Eternal Twilight. That means Aztlant is no longer going to be the normal side of Aztlant. It is the more vulnerable side, and it has only 16 resilience. So we have to protect it. Remember, if Aztlant, either version of Aztlant is destroyed, then we lose the game. Okay, so that leads us into our next turn. I think what we're going to do is camp here, and that's going to allow us to flip over, because we're in range of one of the primordial centers. Whenever you camp in range of a primordial center, you can either place another tile down on the board, or you can flip a location over. So I think that's what we're going to flip this nether tile, or this. We're going to flip that primordial center over, and that is going to place one of these guys, one of these shamans, right in range of us. Okay, and unlike element tokens, we cannot just be in range of this guy. We have to go and pick him up. Now, I was going to use the magician's quantum leap effect to teleport to do this. That was my strategy. I was going to flip him over and then use that effect. Unfortunately, because the Mimikant is in play, I cannot teleport. Okay, so we might have to spend some gold in order to make that effect occur. All right, so we camped. Now let's go ahead and roll our skills. Let's move this out of the way. And I see a bunch of successes. We have a failure, so we have to eat some food. Failure, we have to eat some food over here. We do get some gold, so that's all good. Okay, and let's see, should I purchase? I am going to purchase a couple of void doors. Just because we'll need them later. We're not going to be able to use them now because of that effect I had mentioned. But we are going to spend all the gold we've accumulated in the last couple of rounds and get 2 void doors. That'll allow us to teleport later. All right. So we've moved, we've rolled skills, now it's time for the bad guys. We're going to, let's go ahead and reduce our platinum for that effect, and we're going to have the spiders deal 1 damage, down to 17. We're going to have the Mimikant move 2, and it has a range of 2. So it just needs to get to here, and it is in range. And we can tell that the Queen of the Dead is active in that region. Look at that. She is just tearing that city apart. And let's see. So we have a total of 3 damage to Nemo Teptek because of that guy there. Okay. And that's the only one who can fight back. So we're going to roll 2 dice, and we get nothing. 6 and 4, not gonna do it. Okay? So that is the end of the round. We're going to get rid of one of our bubbles on the calendar. We have 3 left to go. All right, next turn. We are going to move 1, 2, 3, 4. Actually 3, 4, and that way we are in range of the water, and you don't necessarily have to end movement to grab the shaman. You just have to move into it, and so by moving 4 hexes, we have taken this shaman. Now this shaman is an air shaman because this is the air primordial center. So I am going to grab, let's see, where's that placard? It's right here. So here is our Aztlant placard, and we get to fill in the shaman, the air shaman, which is going to be this guy right there. So now we can use this shaman in a number of ways to, get a few different effects. Okay, so that is that. We've moved. Let's roll our skills. I see a hex and another hex. Okay, that's good. We get a few tier 1 resources and a tier 2 resource. We're gonna get our sky metal back here. And what else? We have, we survive, we get some food, we eat some food over here, dangerously low on food. We get a couple of gold, which is good for each of our heroes. All right, now because of the hex, we can draw one of those encounters. We get to draw 2 of them actually. And I'm gonna say we don't need either of them. So I'm gonna put that back. Okay. So at least we find our way. We also are in range of the water now. So we're going to gain the water token. Okay. All we need is 1 earth and we'll be able to create the temple fortress as long as we apply all of those 4 basic elements to the temple. We can build that temple fortress here. So that'll be a fun thing to do if we can get earth, which I do see one all the way up there. Okay, we've rolled skills. Now it is time for the bad guys. They are going to deal 1 damage and 3 damage, a total of 4 damage dealt. Yikes. Down to 10 total resilience on this city-state. The city-state is going to fight back. It has 2 dice that it gets to roll. And we at least have 1 damage. We have 1 damage here. So that's going to apply to both of them. Unfortunately, the Mimicant has a bulwark of 4, so it's reducing 4 damage. It's not going to take any, but the Spider Swarm, I'm not even going to pronounce that word here, that is going to take 1, so it's down to 3. Okay, then we have the Siege bubble be reduced here. I'm going to reduce our Platinum for the end of the turn. And we have 2 turns left on this particular siege. Yikes. Okay. So the next thing I'm going to do is I am going to camp here again. And I'm going to flip this one over. This water primordial center, I'm going to flip over. And you'll see why a little bit later. We already have a water element, so I'm okay with losing this one. I was thinking about flipping over the earth one, but for previously I mentioned that if we get an earth, we're going to actually be able to create that temple fortress. So I am going to leave that one on the board and flip this one over with the hopes of teleporting there later. Okay, so I'm going to place a shaman in this location. That will be good for us to get. Okay, and that is going to be our turn. We're camping, we have all of our health and energy. I'm not going to spend any resources, I'm not going to spend any gold, so let's roll skills. We might have to buy some food here in a bit. Oh yeah, we're down to 2 food left for our astrologist. Look at that, 9, 9, 10. Ugh, he's not even trying. Okay, we have 4, that's a success, a 9 is a failure. Okay, so both failures. Are we camping? We're not going to wander. And we also miss on the gold. And then the event phase, we are going to simply hang tight where we're at. Let's not spend any of our resources. We are going to move into the villain phase. We're going to reduce our platinum again. Boy, Qualiticutli is really depleting our platinum. The people of the Empire of Aztlant, they're just throwing platinum at this god, trying to appease him. Okay. We have the Spider Swarm dealing 1 and the Mimicant dealing 3 for a total of 4 damage. So Nemo Tep Tech goes down to 6. Now we have effectively camped here again, and we can do something kind of fun here. So instead of flipping over, we are still camping in range of this primordial center. So by camping in range of this primordial center, we can create the nether in a location of our choice. So I'm just going to shuffle these without looking. We're going to pick one. And that's the one that has, oh my gosh, that's the one that has a temple. Crazy. So we are going to place this on top of our city-state to protect it. Now, it's really serendipitous. There's only one nether tile that has the temple on top of it. So we've effectively just placed the 5th temple on the board, and it is going to inherit all of the features of this guy here. Well, except for its starting resilience. It only has that 8 starting resilience. But that's going to be really good for us, because this temple is not a magnetic location, which means our opponents are going to be moving away from it. And they're going to be heading toward the nearest magnetic location, which is this guy right here. Okay, so we are going to move into the villain phase. We've taken away our platinum. Let's move our people here. Okay, so the siege opponents have moved 2. They're still in range of this particular temple, so they are going to be dealing 4 damage to that particular temple. I think I prematurely reduced Nemo and Teptex from 10 to 6, so that it should go back to 10. So sorry about that. Sometimes it's hard to talk about the game while I'm playing it, because I pay attention to 2 different things at once. So that 4 damage is actually going to go toward our temple here. Going to be down to 4 left. But now our temple is going to be able to deal some damage. I can't believe. I mean, you guys saw me shuffle that, and then I grabbed that one. That's amazing. Okay, so we are going to roll 8 dice, and we get a 4 or lower, and that is going to be a success. And because the temple has our 4 specialists, we're going to bypass that particular bulwark amount as well. All right, so I see 1, 2, 3, 4, and we get to roll 2 more. 5, 6. Nope, no. It's 4 or less. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 4. We have 4 total hits. So we're doing 4 damage. And check it out, you guys. The spiders only have 3 left, and our mimicant has 4 left. So we get to destroy both the mimicant and the spider swarm. And that mimicant is the last opponent in this slot. So this is going to go back to base here. And then we're going to flip this card over and reorient our banner. We have a 6 and a 1. So that's going to be all the way over here and in that direction. Okay. All right. And we're going to flip this over. And that is the Brontosaur. Okay, so let's get the rewards for these. We get a power-up each, and we get to draw a blood magic card. We have a +1 all abilities and a +1 to each mastery. The magician's going to get all abilities, and the astrologist will get each mastery. Fantastic. Oh, and this is a resource card. So this is going to give us 4 platinum as well. That's good. Okay. right. What else? What else? Okay, so we are going to erase one of the bubbles on the siege calendar, and let's draw that blood magic card. Necrotic Blast. For 8 critical health, you affect the spirit realm to create an immense tear in the void. Select any hex on the map. Move each siege banner up to a number of hexes away from the target hex equal to twice your tier. Now our tier is going to be 1. So this basically means that we could take a critical wound, suffer 8 health damage, and then move a siege banner of our choice away from whatever hex we designate, and it will move 2. Now we can get more blood magic as the game goes on, and each time we gain a blood magic card, we get a blood magic tier. So our tier is going to be recorded on the Aztlant card, so I'm going to put a 1 there for that tier. Okay. Now we can go to this location in order to get more blood magic. And I think that's a great idea for this next game turn. Now we can teleport. So I think that's what we're going to do. Let's go ahead and move this. Okay. Erase that. The Brontosaur has appeared near that marsh where we had the Temple of the Crocodile. It's gigantic. It has an overpower of 8. Yikes! So it's going to be doing a little bit of damage to us if it can get there. Let's see. So it's got 6 total resilience. All right. Things are shaping up here, aren't they? All right. So much to do and so little time. I think what we're going to do is we are going to... move 1, 2, 3. I'm not going to use my teleport, my void doors that I purchased. We're just going to move to that temple so that we can use one of the temple actions to teleport to this temple here. Okay, so we are going to move 3. We're going to roll some dice here for our skill phase. And I see a success all around. We don't need to worry about food. That's good because we would have run out. We do need to worry about food over here. We do run out, so the magician is out of food. We missed everything else over here. So the magician is slacking this turn. All right. What are you doing, Nika? Okay, so at least we find that that's where we're going to stop, and we're good to go there. Now we're going to use the temple action to teleport. So there's a number of things you can do in temples. I think the first thing I'm going to do is we're going to use all of our elements here, all of our basic elements. We had 3 air, 1 fire, and 1 water. I'm reducing each of these by 1. To increase the temple. So now the temple is dealing air, water, and fire damage. And so that's going to allow it to do a little bit more to some of these opponents that will crop up in the future. And we actually will have 3 temples on the board whenever the Eternal Twilight is occurring, because this temple is only appears during Eternal Twilight. Okay, so that's the first thing we do. Second thing we're going to do is teleport. Teleport right over to here. Okay, let's take a look at the blood magic. So, while in the Temple of the Everlasting, in addition to any normal actions, the group may perform each of the following actions up to the number of times shown in the purchased column. So we can purchase 4 tiers of blood magic. It's going to cost us 8 platinum and 4 recruits. We're going to sacrifice 4 recruits, and 8 platinum. And we are going to draw 4 blood magic cards. That means our rank, blood magic rank, goes up to 5. And I'm going to fill in each of the 4 dots here on the blood magic. That just means we can't get any more this game. We've spent all of that. So we've made a huge sacrifice, but we get 4 more blood magic cards. So let's see. We have Bloodbath, 1 critical health. This spell may only be cast after you vanquish an encounter, boss, or siege opponent. Use the blood of your enemies to bolster your pattern. Strengthen the healing or damage you deal using an ability of your choice by 2. This effect may stack up to your tier ability. So every time we defeat something, we can spend 1 critical and 1 health, and we can increase permanently the amount of damage or healing we're doing. Render Spirit, also 1 critical energy drain. We're going to roll the Wellspring die. This die may explode. Raise a target's energy equal to twice your tier plus the roll result. At tier 4, if this is cast during combat, the target also gains 3 energy regen until the end of combat. So that's a great way of increasing our energy. Blood Oath is 1 critical health. Choose an unvanquished boss or siege opponent, or an uncompleted card in play that requires 1 or more stat tests to complete. So that could be either of those guys there. It could be the boss over here. It could be our siege opponent over there. Gain double the rewards after you vanquish or complete it. Up to 1 Blood Oath may be active at any time. At tier 5, gain triple the reward instead of double. Our tier is 5. We are going to go fight that boss, and we are going to get triple the reward for doing this Blood Oath. That's what we're going to do. Yes. Okay. Then we have Blood Barter, our 4th card. 1 critical health. Again, 1 ally of your choice suffers any number of piercing health damage. This damage may not be negated or reduced. Another target of your choice suffers piercing health damage equal to 3 times the amount suffered by your ally plus your tier. So that's actually going to be pretty good for us to use too. All right, place those back there. Those are some awesome blood magic cards. I am going to just kind of keep them here so that you can see them. Let's see if I can just get one more fitting. Yeah, there we go. All right, so those are the 5 blood magic cards we have. I might, actually I can put them right here, probably, can't I? Let me do that. Okay, so we are good to go. That was an amazing event phase for us. The next thing that happens is we're going to have this guy move 2. He's not in range of the temple. The temple is in range of the Brontosaur. So the temple is going to be doing, let's see, let's roll those 8 dice here. And we need 4 or less. So we have 1, 2, 3. We get to re-roll 2 dice. 4. You know what we haven't done? Let's go ahead and apply that fire elemental to this particular location, right? Because we basically we were able to influence this particular fire elemental, and it has an equip effect. So during the event phase, we're also going to equip this guy to our temples. So this defender automatically succeeds 1 failed roll each time it attacks. So we get 1 more from this particular guy here. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 damage, which is enough to destroy our Brontosaur here. So the temple, equipped with the fire elemental, was able to take out the Brontosaur. Okay, So that means we're going to gain a power up as well. So let's go ahead and take care of him and grab a power up. And we have a +2 to the lowest rank for each of these. And each of these are resource cards. We get +2 Sky Metal and +1 Specialist. Alright. +2 lowest rank. That's the 2 over here. +2 lowest rank. That would be a 4. Let's do Earth Shroud here. All right, good. Okay, and that is going to be the end of this particular game turn. We are going to reduce our platinum by 2. We are going to erase the short count calendar. The last bubble is going to get erased, okay? And that means that the siege is now complete. So the siege is done. We're going to take this particular banner and remove it. And because the siege is done, the city-state of Aztlant is no longer in eternal twilight. The eclipse is now past, and we are going to flip this tile back over. And then we are placing our hero back in that same location. It is just no longer a temple. Okay. All right, now that is going to be it. I think we're going to close out the video here, you guys. I'm super excited about the next stage. We have one shaman left over here that we can go and grab. We have a void tile covering our city-state of Nemo Teptek, and that is going to protect it from taking some damage. We also have the boss lair over here, and now the boss Miquipalpatl, I can't say the name right, but that particular boss is on our radar. So we are going to use some blood magic in the next game. We are going to destroy her, and we are going to take all of those rewards, and we're going to set ourselves up for the final battle with, let's see if I can get this one right, Qualiticutli. Yes, got it. Okay, so thanks for joining me on this whirlwind adventure with our kobolds, Kian and Nika. Let's take a look at those guys before we close out the video here. Haven't they just been a blast? I've had a fun little time, like, writing what they're saying in the bottom. So I hope you guys enjoy this video. I've had a blast playing it so far, and I can't wait to get you guys the second video in this particular series. So let's flip Twilight Aztlant back over. Look at that. We have a very healthy resilience on this particular guy here. So I think we are in a really good position to close out this game. I'm hoping to face Qualiticutli in the next gameplay. So thanks for your time. I hope you guys are all well. And until next time, have great adventures. And I guess try and find some solace in this crazy, crazy world we're living in right now. On a personal note, I will say that it has been very draining, I think, for a lot of people, and my heart is with everybody. Honestly, you know, we're here for one another. We're here because of one another in many cases, and we have to remember that. So thanks to you guys, and have a great rest of your day.